Joining me now for a little more discussion about this, we have Steve Moore from the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, FreedomWorks senior economist and author of Govzilla, and Russ Vought, former OMB director and president of Center for Renewing America. Russ Vought, can I just start? I talked to Theo Merkel, I talked to John Cruz. I'm trying to figure out this idea. I mean, first of all, jacking up a tax on small business at this point in the business cycle, really at any point, for heaven's sake, but it's just sheer insanity, okay? It's preposterous. The whole BBS is preposterous. But, Russ, I was wondering, given your OMB-ship, have we ever done this before? I mean, I know that other parts of Medicare are funded by general revenues. That I get. The hospital fund has always been essentially payrolls. This is new, and they're going to tell us that somehow it will be earmarked or designated, and they're going to come up with language, and the reconciliation judge lady is going to sign off on this. I want to get your OMB directorship opinion on this fiscal legardement. Ooh, yeah, fiscal legardement. Who said
Larry,
that?
You're hitting on a long-term fraud of fiscal accounting in this country when we talk about these trust funds, in the sense that the money goes in to the general revenue to be spent, and the trust funds are debited, and they are given a credit so that their life is preserved. But that money comes into the trust fund or into the general revenue, and it is spent out. And so they will say, yeah, if from an accounting standpoint, it preserves the trust fund. But what's actually happening, what's the real nuts and bolts of it, is that more money's coming in on the backs of small employers, and that money will be there so that we don't have to account for the high spending that's happening, not only in the bill that they're going to try to move to the floor of the Senate, but everywhere else in government as well.
You know, Steve Moore, okay, so first of all, Russ, thank you for that, because I think they're going to have to sell bonds to finance this anyway. It's all fungible. I just hate the fiction that they're trying to create to sell it to Joe Manchin and or the rest of the American public. It's just a big fiction is all it damn is. And Steve Moore, there are going to be other taxes. This small business tax is one thing. They're going to come down on corporations. They're going to have this minimum corporate tax book value, which means it's not IRS profits. You don't get any of the deductions and credits, you know, for plant and equipment, for example. They're going to go after probably an international tax if Yellen has her way. I don't know that she will. They may raise the corporate tax rate. Who knows? But what a terrific idea. Inflation is high. Much of the economy is weakening. Employment is holding up. Actually, industrial manufacturing fell. Real retail sales are falling and so forth. So we're on the front end of a recession. Maybe we're in a recession. I don't know. What a terrific idea to start jacking up taxes on large and small companies, Steve Moore. You buy it?
Look, we should be cutting government spending right now, not raising it. And Russ knows that. He's the master on this. We need reductions in spending to suck some of this extra money out, because I really do believe all the trillions of dollars that was spent last year is what caused this massive inflation in the first place. Larry, I'm with you. I say my prayers at night. Please, Joe Manchin, don't break our heart, right, because he has been so stalwart on this. Now, I'm looking at what's being reported and my sources on Capitol Hill. And what they're telling me, Larry, is that the deal that Chuck Schumer is trying to put together with the White House, and they're trying to get Joe Manchin to sign on this, are the big tax increase that you're talking about. And incidentally, let's be clear about this, Larry. If they pass that tax increase, it wipes out a lot of the gains that we made in the Trump tax cut, because those rates will go up to above 40% effectively. Then they're talking about drug price controls, which is going to hurt our pharmaceutical industry, reduce drug innovation, and they're not even going to use that money to reduce prices for consumers. They're going to use it to spend on other government programs, as Russ knows. And they're talking about more green energy subsidies, Larry. $300 to $400 billion for windmills and solar panels and electric vehicles, and then they have this carbon tax. I don't see anything good in this. I don't see one thing in this plan, Larry, that would actually help the economy grow. I think it's all negative, and let's get Joe Manchin to just simply say no to this, and let's get this all behind us.
You know, don't forget, on the table in these discussions is a big increase in Obamacare subsidies, right?
Yep.
Another increase in Medicaid, okay? And Russ Vought, so let me get this right. Tax credits for renewable investment, that is spending through the tax code, but it's a revenue loser. So whatever it is, $500 billion, they got to come up with that money. Then they got to come up with the other money that's supposedly going to bail out Medicare HI account. Pardon my suspicions about that. And so they will wind up bringing a pretty hefty tax hike at a time when the economy is pretty shaky. Inflation is still very high. And the Fed's going to come crashing down. You know that. I mean, the Fed, they've got their manhood back. You know, it took them a year and a half, too late, but they got it back. They're going to start jacking up 75, 75, 75. That's going to, you know, do no good for the economy. There's no supply side reforms like Steve wants and I want. You know, no tax cuts, no deregulation that you would like. So Russ, I just don't get this. I don't get this at all. I don't see where in God's name they think this is a good thing. Joe Biden says he said today, I've transformed economic policy. Yeah, he has. In 18 months, he's basically destroyed a perfectly healthy, growing economy.
Yeah, it doesn't make any economic sense, and it's not intended to, because that's not the way they see the world. I mean, they want a political win in an election year, and they're going to do anything that they can to do that. I mean, I think that what I'm hopeful for, as Steve said, is that Joe Manchin walks away from the table. It's very hard not to have negotiations when you're a part of an individual party. And so my hope is that he is going along with the motions. But what he has shown an ability to do, and if he's watching this, I hope that he would remember, as he had done in the last year, he has shown an ability, as the economic numbers worsen and are coming day by day, he has shown an ability to say, I'm walking away from the table. This is insane. He's the only one on the Democratic Party that has shown any level of sanity, and I don't think the inflation picture is going to improve dramatically, particularly the fact that I still don't think they have caught the housing numbers have caught up with and been reflected in the inflation numbers to an extent that the Schiller Index has had it at. And so why on earth is he going to then put his imprimatur on a tax increase bill with massive spending? And I think it could also fall apart because Kyrsten Sinema hasn't been exactly wild about some of the tax increases as well. That's my hope. We got to prepare as if our hopes will not be realized. Kill the bill is the order of the day. But that's where I hope this is headed.
You know, Steve Moore, Russ makes good points. By the way, Larry,
it's not just. Can I just make one quick point? It's not just bad for the country, as Russ and you are talking about. The big loser in this bill is West Virginia, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's a massive attack on our fossil fuel development, our gas, our coal, our oil, which is, West Virginia is one of the biggest suppliers of that. It provides massive amounts of money for windmills and solar. And incidentally, Larry, I don't know if you're following what's going on in Texas right now. They've got a big heat wave going on, record high temperatures. And guess what? They don't have enough electric power because the windmills aren't turning because there's no wind. I mean, this is the craziness of the left's energy agenda. None of it makes any sense. Oh, also, they have a carbon tax. Did you know that, Larry? They're trying to sell a carbon tax in this bill as well.
Well, yeah, but you know what? We had Governor Abbott on, I guess it was last night. How about this? The EPA, the now discredited EPA by the Supreme Court in a very important decision, but the EPA wants to impose new rigid ozone regulations that would close down the Permian Basin in Texas, which supplies about 40% of American oil. Now, that's a really cool idea, because basically 80% of American power comes from fossils. 80% of American power. Another, maybe if you're lucky, 5 or 6% renewables. So here we are, right at it again. The Bidens have learned nothing. It's a sure prescription, right? Sure, I'll give each of you the last 20 seconds. This is a prescription for less supply and higher prices, whatever it is in the power grid, gasoline, lower supplies and higher prices. Russ, 20 seconds.
Yeah, if you're the Biden administration, do you want ongoing economic headlines and a fundamental reality that you're going to have to be facing with an economic turmoil? This isn't going to go away, and it's not going to go away if you pursue a political deal that is going to hurt the country economically. It's just not, and you shouldn't want that, even if you are a Democrat.
Steve Moore, last 20 seconds. Do you think the Biden administration ever really cared about economic growth? Really?
They never talk about it. When I read their documents, it's all about equality, it's about climate change. The words growth and prosperity and American greatness are never presented there. Let's get not just Joe Manchin, but we also have to get Kyrsten Sinema, who's been fantastic in Arizona, to block this terrible bill.
All right, kids. Thank you, Steve Moore and Russ Vought. Thank you very, very much.